And when it comes to ethics, you mentioned ethics before. I don't understand all the ins and outs of that, but it seems like an animal is going to have a better life if they're, living on pasture versus being factory farmed. I think that's pretty common sense. So, voting with our dollar, supporting those farmers is obviously a better choice to support, animal welfare.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you can afford to do so, that makes absolute sense. It helps the ranchers out. I mean, I think, one of the things, one of the issues we're going to run into is food sovereignty. Who's controlling our food supply? And if we don't support these guys, it's going to go more to the three or four big companies that are going to run all the food production, and you're going to eat what they want to feed you, and they're going to feed you what's going to make them the most profit, not what's going to be best for your health. And so if we don't support these guys will be run out of business. These food monopolies want to do that. Believe me, they're pushing for that. Hopefully there's been enough pushback, enough education, which we need to continue to do to get people to support this stuff. From an ethical standpoint, there's a lot of people saying, well, you should do the least harm. But really, I mean, if you really want to do the least harm, eating a diet which includes a regeneratively raised large animal, a large herbivore like a cow, I can feed myself killing, 1 to 2 animals a year. Honestly, if I chose to do so. And that is in contrast to someone who may be, say, they're on a plant-based diet or a vegan diet, pretending basically that they're doing no harm when the reality is their food is killing, hundreds, if not thousands of animals to feed them. And they may be smaller animals. It may be mice and, rabbits and deer and foxes and things like that that are culled from the field or killed with pesticides intentionally. I mean, there's no accidental, unintentional deaths when you're using pesticides. And this is what's required to make these GMO Impossible Burgers and Beyond Meat burgers, and to grow your tomatoes and your strawberries and your chia seeds and your coffees and your, acai berries. I mean, these are all, I mean, animals are killed to do this stuff. And there's no getting around that. So, you can say, what's the least harm you could do? Well, if you ate a carnivore diet and you specifically went to a regeneratively sourced animal, you're going to probably end up killing one animal at most. Maybe a few. There might be a few other ones that get trampled in the fields or something, but that's really incidental. But when we're spraying pesticides on fields, we are if we're not killing them directly, just to plant those fields, you have to basically nuke the ground and kill all of the biodiversity there to be able to plant those crops. And I know people will say, well, animals are fed some of that, and that's partially true, but you still have the choice. If you go to, a White Oaks pasture or a Alder Spring Ranch or a Polyface Farms or a Belcampo Meats or, and I can name dozens and dozens of Five Bar Beef, which is down the road from me here in Southern California, you can completely avoid all that stuff. It's doable if you have the choice, if you have the financial luxury to say, I'm going to be vegan or vegetarian, which most people in the world don't. It's only in the West where people have that luxury. The vast majority of the people that pursue a plant-based diet do so out of necessity and desperation throughout the world, whether it's Southeast Asia, whether it's Africa, where people are starving and they don't have the option. I mean, they would gladly eat more meat if they had that option, but they don't. And that's the difference there.